So today, just a quick video really. I want to talk about the improvements that I want to make to this 996. It's a 2003, it's done just under 26,000 miles, and I've been thinking about what I need to do with it. Well, I suppose I've been thinking about two things. One, what do I need to do with it, and what do I want to do with it? So far I've only made very basic improvements. I've changed a few of the inside things, just cubby holes and things like that, removed the CD compartment. And that kind of thing, put a phone holder in, that kind of thing. I've also bought winter tyres and a spare set of wheels, which I'll talk about in another video. That's all I've done so far. Now, you know what I'm going to say, because you're already thinking it's a Porsche 996. What's the first thing that you should do? IMS bearing. It's not been done on this car. It's done 26,000 miles. I don't think it's been used a lot. It's a California car. Coming via Mobile, Alabama. So it's not had a lot of use, and people are telling me that actually the ones with the lower miles are the ones that you have to be careful about. And this is a single row bearing as well because it's the later car. So that's got to get done, no question about that. And I've been thinking about the IMS solution by LN Engineering. Now I see this car being in my life for a long time. I just really love it. I have to say I've only had it 3 months, but it is kind of making me think, why didn't I have a 911 in the past? Because it gives me everything I want in a car. So what I like about the IMS solution is it seems to be the only permanent solution, the fix, if you like, the permanent fix to that issue on the IMS bearing. Now, it may not be, and it may be that I've missed something and I'm just a lone person in the wilderness, but the one thing I've loved about actually owning a Porsche 911, and in particular the 996, I have to say, everybody says it's the unloved Porsche, but when you get out into the community, there are lots of people that love this car, and I really understand why. So I'm really interested in your viewpoints on the IMS bearing. I want a permanent fix really, or one that is going to last a very long time. This is a Tiptronic car, which means that the engine and I believe the transmission have to come out in order to get the IMS bearing replaced, whatever. So it's not something I'm going to want to do very often. I've been quoted $4,500 to have the IMS bearing replaced with the IMS solution. Let me know if you think that's about right, if that's in the ballpark, but let me know what other solutions you've used. For my benefit, absolutely, but for anybody else who might watch this video, then we've got it recorded for the community, and it would just be helpful in the comments for you to let me know. So the IMS bearing is one thing. Now, whilst we're there, you've got the engine out, the transmission out. What else should we do whilst we're in there? Now, I am lucky that not one single drop of oil has fallen from the bottom of this car. So the rear main seal seems to be fine, the RMS. What's the view though? Should I let sleeping dogs lie? If it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality. Or whilst we're in there doing the IMS, should we get the RMS done as well? Same with the Air Oil Separator. What's the view there? I've seen on Renlist a chap advertising the ultimate Air Oil Separator, and that looks like a really good idea to me. Would that be something that you guys would recommend, either that particular product or just replacing the AOS whilst we're in there to do? Engine mounts as well, what do you think? Is that worth doing? Should I just, the engine's coming out, why not? What else is there? The kind of whilst we're in there kind of stuff. So, I suppose the IMS, RMS, AOS, all those things are the things that need to get done. Then we get to the stuff that I would like to get done, the exhaust. Now, you've seen me building up to this in my last videos, and I'm really thinking Fister modification. That just seems like a really growly but livable with solution, and a high quality product delivered at a competitive price. And tested by the Porsche community, so it seems like just a win kind of scenario for me. But I've also been looking at the Fab Speed Super Cup exhaust. So let me know. I don't want something that I can't live with, either because it drones or because it's just like a it's just enormously loud the whole time. I want something that is sort of OEM plus, with a bit of a bit of growl to it. What I don't want is something that's going to really irritate my neighbours every time I start the thing, and every time I pull out of a car park, everybody's pointing and laughing at me, going, "Oh, there he goes again." I want something that's just, I think, a bit better than what I've got. So, your thoughts, your advice, your experience, marvellous. Let me know in the comments below. What else? Well, suspension. Now, here's the thing. What I love about this car is that it is such a great blend of ride and handling. Now, I've tested the ride because I've been on a relatively long journey. So last weekend, in my last video with the PCA tour of Connecticut, we did probably about 250 miles when I add in the trip around Connecticut plus the getting up there and getting back again. And it just rode really well. The seats were super comfortable. The suspension just handles things really nicely. I'm coming out of a VW Golf GTI before this, which was super firm the whole time. It was a bit like a go-kart all the time, and if you went over a rough patch of pavement, you had to check your fillings in your teeth because it was that crashy. I mean, it handled like nobody's business, but which is great, but at the great expense of ride. What I don't want to do with this car is mess too much with the ride that I love to get handling that I'm probably not going to use very often. I've got a really good video coming up in a couple of weeks' time, which you guys are going to love, which is going to test the handling. Maybe some track content? We'll see. So stay tuned for that. And I'm really looking forward to filming that one. That's coming up, as I say, in the next couple of weeks. So let me have your experience. Is there a better setup than what I've currently got, which allows me to have the blend of ride and handling that, the handling that a Porsche probably should have and the ride that it currently does have? That would be really helpful if you can let me have some thoughts there. Brakes. Now, the brakes on this feel good. They feel okay. They feel a bit last gen. So when I'm getting in my wife's VW Atlas, which is brand new, I touch the brakes and I grind to a halt. In this, I've got to apply a bit more effort, and I'm thinking it might just be because it's 17 years old and that's the way brakes were at the time. What have you done to your brakes? Is that a normal feeling, by the way? Is that the way it should be? But what have you done? Is there a better way to make this thing stop? What would you say? Other things I think are probably more cosmetic and I'm less worried about them. I'd like to see if I can get my hands on one of those PCCM Plus for the screen in here to convert it, into the 21st century, add Apple CarPlay, that kind of thing, make it just modern enough. I'm not bothered really about having a modern car. I like the fact that this car doesn't have too many bells and whistles, compared with a brand new 911 or any other modern car, frankly. So if it's got heated seats, this engine, these looks, I'm pretty happy, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think that would be a nice thing to do. So far, I've only made very basic changes in here, things that I can easily do myself. So I've taken out the CD holder, I've put a phone holder in, which is really good, and just very basic stuff like that to give it a bit more usable room in here. But the other option could be, if I can't get hold of the PCCM Plus, which I'm not sure if even is coming to the US. I did check with my Porsche dealer about a month and a half ago, and he'd never even heard of it. And when he checked on his screen, he couldn't find anything really more than I could about whether it was coming to the US, and just advised me to check in at the end of the summer. So I'll do that, I guess. But what have you got? What have you got that works really well? I mean, the PCCM thing is really expensive. It's going to be a couple of grand fitted, I'd have thought. Maybe not quite as much as that 1800 fitted or something like that. It's a lot, but it would be very sympathetic to the car because it's a Porsche product and it would look as if it fitted well. But what have you got? Have you got something else? I know Suncoast do the trim around, so you can make it look pretty good actually. But what's your experience? What have you got in yours, just to bring it up to speed, to the modern age, as it were? So that's about my thinking at this stage. I've sort of split it into those three things: the IMS and the things that you do whilst you're in there. The exhaust, that's on my list. That's really on my list. And then, you know, I'm interested in your views about brakes and suspension and stereo. And I think that's about as far as I've got. What else am I missing here? I don't want, you know, to put all sorts of bells and whistles on it and change the color of it and put an aero kit on it. At least not yet anyway, not whilst I've got other things to do. Maybe I'll change my mind about the aero kit. They do look good with the aero kit, don't they? But I've got a pretty good car. I mean, 25,000 miles, that's really low. The paintwork's in really good shape. You know, I quite like the purity of it at the moment. So let me know anyway. Really appreciate all the help you're giving me with this channel. Thank you very much for sticking with me. It really is great. Let me know if the content of this channel is still interesting to you. I never had an intention of really creating a Porsche channel, although that's busy what I'm doing at the moment. There are other things that I'm going to be testing, so I will be reviewing non-Porsche products shortly. I've got a good pipeline of things coming up, but I do want to keep the Porsche content strong, and I want to keep the content about my own stuff, the MG, the Porsche, going, because it's interesting, and I'm loving owning this Porsche. I'm loving owning my dad's old MG, and I'll talk about that in another video. That's why it's special, because it's my dad's. It was my dad's. So let me know if this is going in the right direction for you. I'm interested in your views. Otherwise, have a super day. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe, like, hit that bell icon, all of those things. And I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much. Bye.